Today I'm looking at Pachulski's Prelude in C minor from the ABRSM Grade 5 piano syllabus for 2021 and 2022. Now, I hadn't previously come across this piece of music, but as soon as I started playing it, the influence of Chopin was immediately apparent. I'll just play the opening phrase and you'll see exactly what I mean. So hopefully you're hearing strains of Chopin's Prelude in E minor, Opus 28 number 4. I can hear that immediately when I hear this piece of music. I did that big octave leap with the dotted quaver, semi-quaver pattern, those pulsating chords in the left hand, and this ever descending melody and descending accompaniment. And this reminds me of a TED talk that I'm sure many teachers have come across, but it's always worth mentioning. It's called The Transformative Power of Music, and it's presented by Benjamin Zander, who explores in some detail to an audience of non-musicians. He explores Chopin's Prelude in E minor and walks you through the journey and the story of that piece of music. He is highly entertaining and highly knowledgeable. It's a great watch, and I think many of the points that he makes will be relevant to this piece as well. So I think very worth students having a look at that video too. So when I'm starting this piece, I'm going to be thinking about these chords straight away, I think. And just to start off with, finding the shape of the chords and the journey that we're going on, I'll just play these without the repetitions. And noticing that those chords in bar 2, although the notes are the same, the fingering changes. So I'm explaining to students that that's a different chord, even though it's the same notes. Continuing that pattern. Now I'm anticipating that most of my students will overlook that little line that shows me in bar 4 that the right hand needs to take the bass clef notes. This happens later on in bar 13, and it also happens in bars 26 and of course bar 35. Now I'm fairly confident that my students are going to overlook that to start with. You can actually reach those notes with your left hand, and some I think will try to do so. So worth getting that right from the beginning. Once we've got the journey of those notes, to really make sure that we've got them confident and strong in the hand, and that we've got some voicing as well, and perhaps thinking about breaking up the patterns. Or we could even do it. Many different combinations to really just make sure that those notes are very, very secure in the hand. And of course that carries on throughout the whole piece. Another good tip, I think, is to get students to write the fingering from page 1 into page 2, because the notes are in fact almost the same. There is some embellishment in page 2, but really is a case of making sure that that fingering is consistent all the way through. Now the melody really has to sing over quite a dense accompaniment. So I'm thinking about pressing deeply into the keys and thinking about my arm weight, just thinking about how we describe that to our students. I'm thinking about a very heavy feeling, almost pressing right down. I always try to imagine I'm actually pressing deep into the piano. Thinking about this piano marking. I think students see piano and think they must play very, very quietly, but this melody must project. So I'm thinking of it perhaps more of a small sound, but intense. to really make sure that comes through. They do tend to suddenly start playing very lightly when you see piano, and we need to make sure that that's coming through. Now, Pachulski doesn't mark rubato in the score at all, and yet given the time that this was written and the style of this piece of music, to play it without rubato would feel most unmusical, really. And as the music builds in intensity, so too you can move with the tempo. We'll just play this middle section where it really reaches the climax. According to the notes, it says the original pedalling has been amplified in detail. So I'm assuming this means that Pachulski marked pedalling every half bar, and that has been put in pretty much throughout the piece, although there are a couple of spots where that's going to get a bit muddy, and the pedalling is quite precise. Much like Chopin's Prelude in E minor, this after the that central climax, we hear the opening theme again with some embellishment, but not a great deal, and then then he brings the piece of music to a very gentle close. And of course, we would never miss the opportunity to explain how perfect cadence works.